There's a massive difference between hiring a brilliant coordinator and actually feeling the entire offense come to life. In Los Angeles, that shift is already creating exactly the kind of anticipation fans want, because Mike McDaniel could unlock far more than Justin Herbert's arm. There's a young running back ready to turn space into damage, a possible speed weapon emerging on the market, a rookie who hunts the football, and a receiver looking to reclaim his place among the best. If you can feel something special building inside this offense too, hit like, subscribe, and ride with me, because today, that electricity is getting impossible to ignore. The first impact of this hire has usually been framed through the most obvious angle. Mike McDaniel working with Justin Herbert, two elite offensive minds trying to create a language that can rip defenses apart. But ESPN's Ben Solak pointed to another pairing inside this offense, and that might be where this change becomes more physical, more violent, and even harder to control. Omarion Hampton could be the player who transforms creativity into panic for every defense that comes through Los Angeles. Solak listed McDaniel and Hampton among 8 new coach-player combinations worth watching. From his perspective, this partnership combines a walking big play with an offense designed to create fireworks. That excitement isn't built on a famous coordinator's reputation alone. Before taking over in Miami, McDaniel spent 4 seasons as a run game specialist and run game coordinator under Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, followed by 1 season as offensive coordinator. Running the football was never just some decorative piece of those offenses. It was a way to punish a defense, move the front, create angles, and turn an ordinary-looking cut into a run that changes the game. Solak captured that philosophy perfectly. McDaniel uses the ground game less like a jab and more like a haymaker. Now put Hampton inside that system. In only 9 games as a rookie, he produced 545 yards and 4 touchdowns on 124 carries. It wasn't a full season or a clean, uninterrupted sample, but we saw more than enough burst to understand what this kid has in his legs. With more experience, faster reads, and a scheme that has consistently created room for running backs to attack at full speed, his ceiling climbs in a very real way. And let me say this, Herbert deserves every bit of excitement surrounding this partnership, but a quarterback can breathe a whole lot easier when the defense fears the handoff as much as it fears the deep ball. If Hampton begins turning carries into knockout shots, safeties will have to creep forward, linebackers will hesitate, and Herbert's throwing windows could open wider. The biggest winner from McDaniel's arrival may not be one player. It could be how Hampton forces a defense to choose which threat it wants to face. For a team tired of carrying potential without turning it into control, that possibility feels different to this fan base. Los Angeles could finally have a running game that does more than simply support the offense. It could set the entire game on fire. A suffocating offense needs answers whenever Herbert's first option gets taken away. That's why a name buried in New England's crowded competition should absolutely land on Joe Hortiz's radar. DeMario, Pop, Douglas. Douglas wouldn't arrive to push Ladd McConkey out of the center of this offense, and he wouldn't be asked to play like an outside receiver who wins every rep through contact. The appeal comes from the difference he brings. He has acceleration, sudden change of direction ability, separation underneath, and the skill to catch the ball on the move. In McDaniel's system, with all its motion, spacing, and yards after catch opportunities, that profile could be worth far more than Douglas's current place in the Patriots' pecking order suggests. New England's situation deserves attention because so many players are fighting for clearly defined roles. Douglas is competing for opportunities in a receiver room that includes A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams, and Efton Chisholm III. A 6th-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, he's entering the 23 NFL Draft. He's entering the 4th season of his rookie deal. The Patriots could keep him, but crowded competitions often create uncomfortable decisions once roster spots get tight. That's how a trade opportunity can quietly surface without some massive announcement. The fit with the Chargers is very easy to picture. McConkey would remain Herbert's most reliable separator. Johnston and Harris would keep working with size and vertical ability. Douglas would become the restless piece. Slot reps, jet motion, crossing routes, option routes, and quick screens. With 2 receivers moving before the snap and Johnston threatening deep, the defense would be forced to exchange assignments without time to breathe. One communication mistake becomes open space. The best part is that this idea wouldn't demand a desperate gamble. If New England's roster pressure opens the door, Los Angeles could explore a late-round pick, a conditional selection, or a low-risk player swap. That would preserve valuable capital while giving McDaniel another young weapon with NFL rotational experience. The front office still has to stay disciplined and avoid paying as if it were acquiring an established star. It also has to recognize when a useful player can be acquired before the rest of the market realizes he might be available. Maybe the Patriots never listen to offers. Maybe the Chargers prefer a different route. Douglas still deserves to be monitored, because Herbert's window can't depend on difficult plays alone. A quiet deal like this rarely dominates national shows in July. In January, one third-down conversion by a receiver who can lose his defender in 2 steps could explain why that call was made months earlier. From speed in space, the conversation now shifts to the last line of the defense. Genesis Smith arrives with the Chargers under no obligation to be perfect right away, but he already owns one trait that can't be taught. He feels where the football is going. The rookie safety, selected 131st overall in the 4th round of the 2026 NFL Draft, has been making plays on the ball since long before his days at Arizona. Born and raised in Chandler, Smith intercepted 16 passes over 3 varsity seasons at Hamilton High School. He was a 3-star recruit who stayed home to play for the University of Arizona. As a true freshman in 2023, he appeared in all 13 games, contributed on defense and special teams, recorded 24 tackles, and grabbed his first college interception against Oklahoma in a 38-24 Alamo Bowl victory. His development came quickly. In 2024, he started all 12 games and finished with 63 tackles, 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 recovery. After entering the transfer portal, he ultimately returned to Arizona. The following season, he started all 12 games again and posted 77 tackles, 1 interception, 9 pass breakups, 2 recoveries, and 2 forced fumbles. His third-team All-Big 12 selection came while helping lead the nation's 7th-ranked pass defense. It's not hard to understand why the ball finds him. Smith combines range with rare lower body explosion. At the Combine, he posted a 42.5-inch vertical, tied for the 2nd highest mark across all positions. He eats up ground with long strides and arrives at the catch point ready to compete. 5 interceptions and 19 pass breakups across 3 college seasons show this is about far more than one impressive athletic test. But this is where the necessary pressure enters the picture. Smith must improve his tackling fundamentals. At 6'2" and 202 pounds, he has the tools to save plays on the back end, but scouts saw far too many missed tackles and too many yards allowed after contact. His technical base can also break down when the pressure rises, and the stiffness in his hips shows up on sudden changes of direction. The ability to steal possessions is incredibly exciting. To earn meaningful snaps, he'll have to stop routine catches from becoming disasters. That's the challenge separating an intriguing ball hawk from a dependable NFL safety. And then we come to the player who knows exactly what it feels like to explode onto the scene and then fall short of that same impact the following year. Ladd McConkey didn't disappear, not even close. Even after a second season that couldn't match the expectations created by his rookie year, the respect around the league remains strong. Now the path back to center stage is wide open, and his response could be massive. As a rookie, McConkey caught 82 passes for 1,149 yards, setting Chargers rookie records in both categories. In 2025, Keenan Allen's return reduced the available volume, and Ladd finished with 789 yards. He still led the team, but it still felt like a weapon this dynamic spent far too much time away from the center of the story. Even so, McConkey landed in the received votes category in ESPN's positional rankings alongside Alec Pierce, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, and DK Metcalf. That isn't a spot among the elite, but it proves the league hasn't forgotten the damage Ladd created when he had the space and volume to command the passing game. Keenan wasn't re-signed for 2026. McConkey now steps back into a clear WR1 role, and Mike McDaniel takes control of the offense. That completely changes the pulse of this conversation. A coordinator who thrives on movement, leverage, and production after the catch now gets to work with a receiver who separates, understands zones, and turns small advantages into massive gains. This isn't just about throwing Ladd more passes. It's about getting him the ball in situations where the first defender arrives late and the second one has to clean up the mistake. If McConkey surpasses the numbers from his rookie season, ESPN's next ranking could paint a completely different picture. Top 10 is an aggressive projection because the position is loaded with stars and massive contracts. Aggressive does not mean absurd when there's already a 1,149-yard season on his resume and a new system ready to maximize the exact traits that make him dangerous. I want to hear from the Chargers community as we look at the full picture. How would you use McConkey to put the most pressure on defenses in McDaniel's offense? Drop the routes and combinations you want to see down in the comments. If Hampton threatens on the ground, another speed receiver creates chaos with motion, and McConkey gets fed like a true WR1 again, the defense can't erase everything. Ladd doesn't need to recreate the old narrative. he can build a bigger one as the face of an offense designed to stretch tension across every inch of the field. 4 stories. One feeling that is impossible to ignore. The Chargers are collecting different ways to attack what defenses fear. Hampton could explode on the ground. Douglas represents a potential injection of speed. Genesis Smith brings the instinct to steal possessions, while McConkey has a wide-open stage to answer with an elite season. None of that removes the work, the adjustments, or the tough decisions still ahead, but it gives this fan base real hope with substance behind it, and that matters after waiting this long. Pick your strongest bet for 2026 down in the comments, subscribe to follow every move, and stay close. This time, Los Angeles might finally turn electricity into production when it matters most.